My name is Nora Carter, 26 years old. I've never been on a plane. I've sat inside one, once, on a high school field trip where we posed in an old Delta fuselage and pretended the torn vinyl seats could still lift us above the clouds. But I've never leaned back into recycled air, never accepted pretzels from someone in polyester, never stared at engine light blinking against blue. My sister has flown so much the sky knows her wristwatch. Ava's been to 31 countries. I know the number because she posted it under a photo of her doing yoga in front of the Taj Mahal. 31 countries, 0 regrets. I was tagged. Miss you, sis. You'd love Morocco. At the time of that tag, I was ankle deep in a puddle behind the warehouse, coaxing a runaway pallet away from the drain like I was rescuing a cardboard Titanic. That's our family split screen. Ava in linen, me in steel-toed boots. She was always the free spirit, which in parent speak means she color runs through boundaries and we clap. I followed rules, so they asked if I was doing enough. At 15, Ava dyed her hair pink and blogged about eco-henna. Mom said she was expressing herself. I wore the same hoodie 3 days straight and got a sermon about letting yourself go. By 20, Ava left college to find her inner compass. My compass was rent. The warehouse is a giant concrete box with no AC, humming fluorescent lights, and a break room fridge that sounds like it wants to escape. I load trucks, break down shipments, do inventory. My knees file complaints. My back files an appeal. The pay is steady-ish. No one cares about brands. Only if you show up. I always show up. Ava sends postcards from Bali. I send invoices to accounts payable. At family dinners, on the rare Sundays I can attend, Dad raises a glass to Ava following her dreams, while I mention my promotion to inventory lead and watch the room nod like I've told them tomorrow is Monday again. It wasn't jealousy, not exactly. More like a dull ache, a constant awareness that I'm holding the door open while everyone else runs toward something lit by fairy lights. Even Grandpa stays distant. He lives 5 blocks from the warehouse in the house he built after the war. When I was little, he let me hold his hammer while he fixed a deck board. Since then, he waves from the porch like I'm the mail carrier. In July, the warehouse turns into a sauna with forklifts. I'm stacking wholesale toilet paper when a voice cuts across the echo. Is Nora here? People don't just drop by. We're not exactly a boutique. I turn and nearly drop a box on my foot. Mr. Aldridge stands there in suspenders, gripping a clipboard like Excalibur, Grandpa's old friend, a man who looks carved from oak and shop dust. He owns a workshop downtown, fixes everything from vintage radios to misaligned porch rails. I haven't seen him in years. You still got those strong shoulders, he grins. Or did the city soften you? I work in a warehouse, I say, deadpan. Perfect. I need help lifting a drill press the size of a small horse. You busy this weekend? That's all it takes. No pitch, no promise. A gruff old man with dust on his boots handing me what nobody has in years, a chance. Saturday arrives with the taste of metal and coffee. Warehouse mornings train you to function on caffeine and back pain, but this feels different. Aldridge's workshop smells like oil, iron, ambition. He's outside when I pull up, arguing with a rusted table saw. Behind him, the shop looks like a shrine to American ingenuity. Pegs of wrenches, a lathe older than my parents' marriage, sparks frozen in old photos on the wall. You any good with your hands? He asks, shoving a pair of safety goggles at me. I've held brooms and barcode scanners. That'll do. The drill press is ancient, built to survive a war. We hoist, adjust belts, tighten bolts. He barks instructions, mutters histories, never wastes a word. I don't understand half, but I listen like water finding copper. After months of being a body that lifts, my brain drinks the language of measurements, torque, heat. Ever use a lathe, he asks? Not unless one is hiding inside a shipping pallet. Perfect, time to learn. By lunch, my forearms tremble. He passes me an egg salad sandwich from a cooler that predates Google. You're better at this than you think, he says without looking up. At breaking bolts, I joke. At paying attention. He finally meets my eyes. You listen like someone who had to figure things out the hard way. I don't know what to do with praise that doesn't have asterisks, so I chew. Working tomorrow? He asks. It's Sunday. Warehouse is closed. You are now, he says. Working here. No interview. No resume, no fatherly toast, just trust airtight as a clean weld. I laugh, then don't. Something inside me that's been on life support sits up. The next day and the day after becomes a rhythm. He pays in cash at first. Honest, modest. He teaches welding, milling, sandblasting, custom fabrication. Every time I think I'll break something, he hands me a wrench and says, "Then fix it." My life has been a list of jobs that want me to lift and shut up. This one wants me to see. I start asking questions. What's this lever? Why that angle? Can I try? He never laughs, never rolls his eyes. He answers. Confidence arrives not as fireworks, but as rust, slow, creeping, permanent. A week in, I stop checking the clock. I start sketching logos on receipt paper. I try names. Carter Fabrication. Too stiff. Nora Metal Works. Tattoo Parlor Energy. I circle ground line. Simple, clean, like what I want to build. I don't tell anyone. Not mom, not dad, not Ava, with her airports and sunsets. Not even Ethan, my boyfriend, who calls between meetings to ask if I've eaten and can I take Sunday off for once. I say maybe. I don't mean it. 3 weeks in, I'm alone in the shop, aligning braces on a custom smoker. Something's off by a hair. My eye finds it before the calipers do. I correct, weld, smooth the seam until it looks inevitable. Aldridge returns from the back, hands full of fittings. He runs a calloused palm along my weld and grunts the closest thing to a benediction I've ever heard. "You do that?" "It was off," I say. He nods. Silence settles. The heavy kind that means something just changed. "You ever think about doing this full time?" he asks. I thought I was. Your own shop, brand, clients, no barcodes, no clock punching for strangers. It hits like a dropped anvil and leaves me standing taller. I go home that night and reopen my notebook. Ground line. The word looks like a horizon. By Friday, the website is live, courtesy of a retired Navy welder who likes grilled corn and coding. We upload photos of past projects. I write descriptions like "I'm not terrified to sound dumb." We click publish. A former client shares it. A mechanic asks about a custom bumper. The hardware store guy wants signage brackets. It's a drip, not a flood, but it's movement, mine. Aldridge hands me an envelope. Your first solo job. Custom steel fire pit with engraved initials. He's proposing. The client cries when I deliver it, pays double. I bike back to the shop breathless, ready to tell Aldridge. He's not there. Just a note taped to the door in his block capitals. Gone fishing. Not a metaphor. You've got the keys now. Don't screw it up. I laugh until I nearly cry. Then I unlock the door and flip on the lights. The shop glows like a small, stubborn sun. Somewhere in a different time zone, Ava posts a photo of her laptop on a bamboo dock. Emails and eels. I don't click like. I pick up my marker and print one word across a scrap of sheet steel. Ground line. And for the first time in a long time, the metal answers back. The shop teaches me a new kind of arithmetic. Measure twice, breathe once, let the heat do the persuasion. Mr. Aldridge doesn't hover. He stations himself within earshot and lets me figure it out, only interrupting when I'm about to gamble with my fingerprints. Metal doesn't care about your feelings, he says, adjusting my grip, but it will respect your patience. I start dreaming in bevels. In the mornings, I wake with a faint metallic tang on my tongue and the map of yesterday's sparks speckled across my sleeves. My hands grow steady. My back still complains, but the aches feel like proof rather than punishment. On Tuesday, I ruin a cut by exactly the width of a sigh. Aldridge doesn't bark. He cocks his head, taps the ruined edge. What does it want to be now? Scrap? He shakes his head. A smaller part. Change the plan, not the lesson. We redraw. I salvage what I can. The new piece fits so neatly it looks intentional. Not perfect, but earned. When I'm not learning weld puddle choreography, I'm sweeping. You could eat off Aldridge's floor if you liked your soup garnished with shot peen dust. He believes in order like it's a second religion. Every tool returns to its hook. Every rag has a grave. Clean shop, clean thoughts, he mutters, and the truth of it lands somewhere below my ribs. Ethan calls in the quiet stretches. He works in product over at a tech company where the coffee is free and the sprints are endless. We do this thing where we promise a Friday night and then one of us cancels. This time, it's me. I've got practice welds, I tell him guilty. Practice welds? He laughs, not unkind. Okay, welder girl, I'll bring dinner to the shop. He shows up in a hoodie, Hair damp from a quick shower, with a grease-stained paper bag that smells like impatience and rosemary fries. He looks out of place and also right. While I eat on a milk crate, he studies the drill press like he's assessing a marsupial. "So this is your second boyfriend," he says, patting the press's column. "Third," I say. "The bandsaw's name is Carl." He grins. "Should I be jealous?" "You? No," I say lightly, then softer. "The hours, maybe." "Then don't make me the villain for saying I miss you," he replies, easy, not accusing. "I'm proud of you, Nora. Just keep a corner of the week for us." A promise forms in my mouth and dissolves before I can say it. He kisses my forehead and leaves me a brownie I pretend I won't eat. At night, after Aldridge locks up, I stay behind with permission, pushing past my own caution. I ruin a few coupons of steel on purpose, cycling through bad angle, wrong speed, sloppy feed until my hands stop arguing with my head. When something clicks, it clicks all the way down. The puddle's soft crescent, the hiss of a proper bead, the seam that would rather hold than split. The smell becomes normal. The heat becomes language. Aldridge pays me cash. Modest, enough to bring home groceries and pay the light bill without choosing which room gets electricity that week. But the real currency is attention. He watches me like a teacher who remembers what it was like to learn, then drops hints the way some people drop candy. Back off your travel speed. Hear that? That's the arc asking you to trust it. No, not like that. Like that. Good. On a Wednesday, he brings out the lathe like a baptized relic. The thing hums with its own age. He shows me the hand wheel, the carriage, the tailstock. Turn your shoulder, brace your stance. If your feet are confused, your hands will lie. I think about that all day. Mom texts in the evening. Sunday dinner? Ava's calling in from Portugal. The plane emoji flares like a small sun on my screen. I type, maybe. I delete it. I type, I'll try. It sits there with all the other soft promises women make to keep peace at the table. By the weekend, we've fallen into a rhythm. He hands me a job. I prep, measure, cut. He inspects the first pass, tweaks the plan by a hair. I fix the hair. The shop dog, Bruno, a dignified mutt with the emotional range of a retired judge, adopts me after I drop an entire chicken and rice lunch on the floor. He starts sleeping by my boots while I grind, occasionally opening one eye like he's grading my technique. The first commission that's mine alone arrives wrapped in ordinary handwriting, a custom steel fire pit with engraved initials. He's proposing, Aldridge says. Don't screw it up. The design eats my brain alive. For days I carry it everywhere, trying letters in different weights, a ring of star patterns around the rim, a base that can hold heat without scarring the patio. I wake at 3 a.m. to sketch a spiral vent that draws smoke better. At 9 a.m., I cut the circle. By noon, I'm beveling the lip. The engraving takes longer than pride likes. I test on scrap. I ruin 2 attempts. On the third, my hand finds a steadiness that feels like a choice. The initials interlock gently. No bravado, just certainty. I sand the finish until my shoulders mutiny. The clear coat lays down smooth as a held breath. When I step back, the pit catches shop light like it remembers stars. The client is tall, young, in the way that hope makes you, almost shaking. He runs a hand over the engraving and his voice goes thin. She's gonna... thank you. When he tries to overpay, I demur exactly once and then accept. Aldridge rule. When someone honors your work, let them. The man leaves carrying a circle of proof, and I sit on the floor, suddenly a little afraid, not of failure, of being seen succeeding. I pedal back to the shop to tell Aldridge. He's gone. The bench where he keeps his coffee is empty, the lid still on the thermos. On the door is a sheet of paper, jagged at the edge where he tore it from a pad. Gone fishing. Not a metaphor. You've got the keys now. Don't screw it up. The keys hang on a nail, heavy as a decision. I laugh, and then I don't. I stand there with the note in my hand and feel something settle in my chest. A weight that is not a burden. Ownership. That night, the warehouse calls to ask if I can cover Sunday overtime because Marco's out. The old reflex in me perks up like a dog to a whistle. I look at the keys in my palm. Can't, I say. I'm booked. Booked? My supervisor repeats, like the word doesn't belong to me. Booked, I say evenly. I've got clients. I hang up, shaking the way you do when you speak a new language and people understand you. I don't tell my parents. Not yet. I open my beat up notebook and work through names that feel either like law firms or tattoo parlors. Carter Fabrication, Nora Weld, Anchor, and Arc. I draw a straight line on the page, underline it once. Ground line. It reads like the place your feet begin, the quiet truth beneath the structure. I print it on a scrap of steel with a paint marker. The letters look like they can hold weight. Aldridge's friend, the retired Navy welder who codes, helps me spin up a one-page site. We stand in front of an ancient desktop that still wheezes like it has lungs. He shows me how to upload photos, how to not write like a hostage in the About section, how to make a contact form that doesn't feel like a bureaucratic dare. We snap shots of the smoker, the drill press restoration, a set of shelves we straightened until a spirit level blushed. I fuss over every caption like a tiny poem. We hit publish. Nothing explodes. We stare at the screen like it's a newborn, waiting for a cry. A day later, a mechanic messages asking for a custom bumper. Then the hardware store wants signage brackets that won't twist. Aldridge informs me by voicemail that websites are like trout, slippery but good eating. I don't ask for an explanation. Bruno and I begin mornings in silence. I sweep. He judges. I answer emails with gloves off, type slowly so the grit under my nails doesn't add accidental characters. The work drips in. I keep showing up. My world becomes a corridor between effort and proof. Mom's Sunday dinner lands anyway. I go. I shower twice to evict the smell of the shop from my hair and still end up wearing a jacket I don't mind sacrificing to gravy. Dad opens the door and gives me the quick nod he reserves for people he loves, but doesn't quite know how to celebrate if they aren't holding a diploma or a boarding pass. Ava appears on the tablet in the middle of the table like a celebrity hologram. High bun, bronze shoulders, a teacup that costs someone else more than my rent. Namaste, she sings, and Mom brims with it. How's the warehouse? Dad asks me, spearing an olive. Good, I say. I've been helping at Mr. Aldridge's, learning fabrication. Dad blinks like I spoke in metric. Still doing that? I'm running the shop when he's out, I say. We launched a site. That's cute, Ava says, from a time zone where the sun is always golden. It lands between us like a paper cut. I don't bleed where they can see it. I change the subject to roasted potatoes. After dessert, in the doorway, Mom squeezes my hand. Your sister's doing a retreat in Portugal, she says, eyes shining. They're going to build tiny houses with their bare hands. I say nothing. I think about the fire pit cooling on a stranger's patio and the initials warming. Back at the shop, I click through the inbox and see 3 new inquiries. Small ones, real ones. I'm still grinning when a new notification pops up. Ava Carter mentioned you in a comment. Her post, a photo of a bamboo dock, laptop open, toes painted cosmic pearl. Caption, emails and eels. The tag, at Groundline Fabrication with a glitter emoji. So proud of my sis, she's a metal artist now. I stare at the screen long enough for my reflection to look like a stranger. I can feel the old ache, the one that makes me want to hand her the narrative so she'll hand me love, stir, then quiet. I click the tag. I don't comment. I lift my marker and write ground line across a sheet I've saved for this moment. Then I tape Aldridge's note beside it like a talisman. The keys are heavy and simple in my palm. The lights buzz on. Bruno thumps his tail. I set out the steel for morning, lay the rulers edge to edge, and line up the world until it clicks. In the dark window, my shape looks like a woman welded to her place. Tomorrow can ask whatever it wants. I'll answer in heat. It's strange how quiet success can be when no one's looking. 2 months after Aldridge's note, Groundline hums like a heartbeat. The shop smells of progress. Oil, sweat, and victory hidden under sawdust. My hands carry 100 tiny burns, each one a small certificate of competence. Then Ava comes home. Her return isn't an event, it's an announcement. The family group chat explodes. Mom, Ava's flight landed. Dad, cooking her favorite tonight. Me, cool. I stare at that one word until it feels smaller than I meant it. Sunday dinner is déjà vu. The same table, same toasts, same hierarchy. Mom hurries between dishes like she's hosting a royal banquet. Dad polishes wine glasses that haven't seen daylight since last Thanksgiving. Ava walks in wearing a linen jumpsuit and confidence. Her tan glows, her hair's lighter, and her accent, somewhere between yoga instructor and travel vlogger, slides off her tongue like it's rehearsed. Namaste, she says, hugging Mom with both arms. You look radiant. She barely looks at me before saying, "Oh my God, Nora, you look strong." It's meant as a compliment. Feels like a comparison. Dinner begins like always. Dad raising a glass to our wanderer. Mom laughs about Ava's transformative retreats. I sit there cutting steak into perfect squares, waiting for my turn that never comes. Finally, Ava asks, "So, what's new with you?" I clear my throat. "I've been running Mr. Aldridge's metal shop downtown. I renamed it Ground Line. We've got a few clients now." A pause, the air shifts. "That's cute," Ava says, in that polished way she uses when she doesn't know whether to applaud or correct. "Like an Etsy shop, but industrial?" "More like custom fabrication," I answer evenly. "Benches, signage, even structural frames." Mom brightens. "That's wonderful, honey. Ava, maybe you could help her promote it online." Ava's eyes light up. "Actually, yes, I was just about to say that." Oh no. After dinner, she corners me by the door. "So," she begins, "I've been thinking maybe we could partner up." "Partner up?" "Yeah, you're great at the craft part, and I'm good at, branding. A vibe, the presentation." I almost laugh. A vibe. She nods, serious. "I took a marketing course in Bali, learned all about digital storytelling and emotional branding. I could help Groundline reach people who appreciate authenticity." "You want to work with me?" "Not for you," she corrects quickly. "With you. We'll be co-founders. You handle metal, I handle message. Equal share, obviously." I lean on the door frame, arms folded. "And what exactly would your day look like?" "Well," she says, counting on manicured fingers, "content planning, social campaigns, maybe an intern or two once we scale. I'll need a workspace, something air-conditioned, and like a small salary at first." "A salary?" "Just until the brand stabilizes," she says breezily. "Also, I can help you redesign the website. The font screams, 'Retired Blacksmith.' We can make it more feminine industrial." I blink. "Send me your resume." She freezes. "My what?" "Your resume," I repeat. "List of skills, work history, references, standard stuff." Her smile falters. "Are you serious?" "Dead serious." She scoffs softly. "Wow, so this is who you are now?" "No," I say quietly. "This is who I've always been. You just never noticed." For once, she doesn't have a hashtag-ready comeback. 3 days later, an email arrives. Subject, Ava's Vibe Deck. It's not a resume. It's a pastel presentation filled with words like alchemy, synergy, and visual storytelling. Under testimonials are 3 quotes, 2 Instagram comments, and 1 from someone named Brad X. I close the file without responding. The next morning, she shows up anyway. Heels, gold hoops, white jumpsuit, at a metal shop. "Good morning, coworker," she announces. Bruno, the shop dog, growls once and rolls over, unimpressed. "You're overdressed," I say. She grins. "It's called showing up as the energy you want to attract." "You're attracting tetanus." She waves it off. "Relax, I'm shadowing today, just observing your workflow for inspiration." "You're 10 minutes away from personal incineration," I mutter, handing her a scorched welding hood. "Put this on." She gasps. "Do you have one in matte black?" "No." Within an hour, she's tried to rename half my tools. She documents herself sweeping with a caption, "Stepping out of my comfort zone and into my power. #girlboss, #sparksfly." By noon, she's sweating through the linen. "This broom is aggressive," she groans. "It's fighting back." "That's gravity," I tell her. At lunch, I hand her a sandwich. She pulls out a container of raw quinoa and beets. Bruno sniffs it, then walks away like a critic. The afternoon gets worse. She sits at my desk, laptop open, rebranding my website. "Rustic minimalist," she says, changing my bold, steel gray logo to blush pink. And I've replaced the term welding with artisan flame crafting. It's warmer. "It's nonsense." "Nora," she sighs, "people don't buy products, they buy stories." "Then tell them this one's forged with sweat and 400 degrees of fire." She rolls her eyes. "You don't get it. You need vision alignment." "You need safety goggles," I shoot back. By 3 p.m., she's sitting cross-legged on a crate, exhausted. "I don't get it," she mutters. "How are you even successful? You didn't study marketing. You don't have a business degree. You've never even posted a reel." "I don't know," I say, shrugging. "Maybe because I show up." She stares at me like I've just spoken a foreign language. "You think you're better than me now?" I wipe my hands. No, I just don't think I'm worse. Her face shifts, just a flicker, but it's there, the mask cracking. For a heartbeat, she looks like the sister I used to build pillow forts with, not the brand ambassador of herself. She leaves without another word. The broom leans against the wall, mid-sweep. I pick it up and finish her half. The bristles scrape steady across the concrete, rhythmic, grounding. Outside, the sun cuts a line across the metal racks, like it's dividing before and after. That night, I tell Ethan about the day. He listens, jaw tightening. She's jealous, he says finally. She's always been jealous. I shake my head. No, she's lost. She thought being loud meant being seen. He reaches for my hand. And you? You're finally being seen by just doing the work. I let myself smile. Small, tired, but real. He squeezes once. Don't let her rewrite your story. Don't worry, I whisper. I've already welded mine shut. 2 weeks pass without a single text from Ava. The shop is peaceful again. Just the buzz of welders, the metallic percussion of progress, and Bruno's occasional sigh when I sing off-key to the radio. For the first time, Groundline feels mine in every sense. The smell, the sound, the rhythm. Then the email arrives. Subject: custom outdoor benches for Talbot Coffee. At first, I think it's spam, but when I scroll, I see the name, Luke Talbot, owner of the cafe chain that every influencer treats like a second home. He wants a quote on sleek, industrial benches with warmth. His words, not mine. He's already contacted 2 big fabrication firms, plus a design agency that offered benches made from reclaimed ski lift parts. But, his email ends, a friend mentioned you're the real deal. My hands tremble slightly as I type back. I send a mock-up sketch, a budget, and a note that reads, no gimmicks, just steel, sweat, and maybe a little fire. 3 hours later, my phone rings. This is Luke, says a calm, confident voice. You're hired. I stare at the receiver. Sorry, you mean, you were the only one who didn't pitch me a brand story, he says. I just want benches. It's the biggest job I've ever had. 5 figures. Full creative control. A deadline tight enough to hurt, but fair enough to make me chase it. When I tell Ethan that night, he whistles low. That's huge, Nora. You're leveling up. Yeah, I grin. I'm terrified. He kisses my forehead. Good. You should be. Means it matters. The next day, Groundline becomes a furnace of focus. I draw blueprints until my fingers ache. I cut, weld, sand, polish. The shop vibrates with purpose. I sleep less, drink more coffee, eat standing up. Ethan drops by with takeout and patience. You're working 14-hour days, he warns gently. I love that you're building something, but remember you're human, okay? I laugh, voice muffled behind my mask. I'll rest when the benches are done. And then, because stories love timing, the universe decides I haven't faced enough tension yet. Luke schedules a design review. My new marketing consultant will join, he says. She'll handle our visuals and PR rollout. I nod absently. Sure, no problem. The consultant's name pops up in my inbox. Brooke Haynes. My stomach drops. Ethan's ex. He told me about her once, how they dated for 2 years back when he was still in grad school. She's now a branding strategist. Smart, but calculating, he'd said carefully. We ended on decent terms. Decent? Sure. I meet Brooke 2 days later at the Talbot Coffee flagship downtown. She's tall, perfectly styled, and looks at my work portfolio like it's a grocery receipt. So you're the fabricator, she says, offering a hand that doesn't really want to be shaken. Ethan mentioned you've started your own shop. Bold move. Thanks, I reply, keeping my tone neutral. We're a small operation, but solid. She smiles the kind of smile that has teeth hiding behind it. I love that for you. Luke joins us, oblivious to the undercurrent. Nora's leading fabrication for all our outdoor benches, he says proudly. She's bringing real craft back to the brand. Craft, Brooke repeats, writing something in her notebook. Let's just make sure it aligns with Talbot's aesthetic. Industrial can feel harsh if it's not curated. I nod tightly. Understood. For the next week, every email from her is a small test. She questions dimensions, tone, bolt choices. She even sends suggestions for softer materials that would collapse under the first rainy season. I reply politely, reattaching specs, resisting the urge to weld her laptop shut. One night, I finally vent to Ethan. She keeps implying I'm unprofessional, I snap. Every message ends with some variation of, are you sure? Like I don't know my own craft. He sighs. That sounds like her. She means well, just controlling. Controlling? I echo, arms crossed. She literally tried to change the alloy type because she thought aluminum feels friendlier. He hesitates. I'll talk to her if you want. No, I interrupt. Please don't. I can handle it. I just needed to release pressure. He nods, but I can tell he's torn between loyalty and awkward history. By Friday, I've stopped sleeping properly. Every spark from the welder feels like a question mark. I hate that someone like Brooke can get in my head when I've built this entire thing from scratch. Then, something unexpected happens. While I'm working late, it's nearly midnight, a car pulls up outside. Headlights spill through the glass. For a second, I think it's Ethan. But it's Ava. She steps out, no makeup, hoodie, sneakers, hair tied up like an ordinary person for once. I brought coffee, she says quietly, holding out a cup. And I think I owe you an apology. I don't speak. I just wipe my gloves on a rag and motion toward the bench. She sits, fidgeting. I was awful that day, she says. Arrogant. I came in thinking your world needed fixing when really, mine does. I lean against the work table. What changed? She shrugs. Maybe hitting rock bottom looks like sweeping concrete. I don't know. But when I walked out of here, I realized how much I've been pretending. You're actually building things. I've just been selling the idea of building. I glance at her hands. You want to try again? For real? Her nod is small but certain. No cameras, no hashtags, just work. For the first time in years, her tone sounds genuine. I hand her a pair of gloves. All right then, you're on scrap catalog duty. Copper, steel, aluminum, separate bins. Don't mix them. She grins faintly. Bossy. Efficient. The next few days are quiet. Ava shows up early, sweeps without being asked, stays until closing. She hums while sorting bolts, talks to Bruno like he's her supervisor. I pretend not to notice, but a strange calm settles over the shop. Meanwhile, I push through Brooke's last round of feedback. I fix what matters and ignore what doesn't. The benches come together, symmetrical, clean, precise. When I step back, the metal gleams under the lights like something alive. Luke stops by for inspection. His eyes widen. They're perfect, he says simply. He takes photos, posts one on Talbot Coffee's Instagram. Built local. Built right. Built by someone who shows up. My phone explodes with messages, inquiries, even congratulations from other fabricators. For once, I don't feel like the afterthought at the family table. Then my phone buzzes again. Brooke, congrats on the benches. Impressive work. Though, just a heads up, marketing's proposing a rebrand for the rollout. They might adjust crediting for consistency. Nothing personal. Nothing personal. My jaw tightens. Ethan's name lights up next. I answer. She's saying the company might list you under fabrication team instead of lead, he explains awkwardly. She says it's protocol. So after all that, they're scrubbing my name? I'll talk to Luke. No, I cut him off, voice low. Let them. The benches have my welds. That's credit enough. But when I hang up, my hands shake, not with fear, with fury. Ava looks up from her workbench. What happened? Someone's trying to erase me. She studies me, quiet for once. Then she says something I don't expect. Then we make sure they can't. I stare at her, my sister, my rival, my mirror, and for the first time in years, I see something real flickering behind her eyes. Respect. The next morning, I wake before sunrise. For the first time in months, the light filtering through the shop's high windows feels different. Not harsh, not cold, like the kind that falls on something finished. The benches stand in a row by the wall, lined like soldiers awaiting inspection. Each one gleams under the pale orange dawn, solid, symmetrical, breathing with quiet pride. I run my hand over the steel. It's smooth, cool, confident, everything I'm still learning to be. Luke posts another photo that day. The caption reads, "Support local, built with care by Groundline Fabrication." For the first time, my name, my shop's name, sits under something that people are sharing. The phone won't stop buzzing. Emails, inquiries, small commissions, big possibilities. Even Mom texts. Saw the benches at Talbot Coffee. So modern, honey. Her version of 5 stars. Dad calls that evening. People at my office were talking about your benches, he says, sounding halfway between proud and confused. They said they're trendy. You're trendy now? I laugh. Guess so, Dad. Ava overhears from across the shop and smirks. Don't worry, it's industrial chic. Trendy, but serious. She's been here every day since her late-night apology. She arrives before me, sweeps without being asked, hums old songs while sorting hardware. Sometimes she brings breakfast sandwiches. Sometimes she just sits beside Bruno and reads invoices aloud so I don't forget deadlines. It's strange having her here, not as a storm, not as a brand, just as Ava. We don't talk about what happened between us. We just let the rhythm of work erase the noise that words used to make. But peace, I've learned, doesn't last long when other people think they can profit from your calm. Late one afternoon, I get an email forwarded from Luke. Subject, revised press draft, for review. From Brooke Haynes. I scroll. Talbot Coffee is proud to announce our new line of artisan benches designed by our creative branding consultant, Brooke Haynes, and fabricated by our partner team, Groundline. Partner team. No mention of me as lead. No mention that Brooke hasn't touched a wrench in her life. My chest tightens. The welds on the benches may as well be seams in my ribs. Ava sees my face before I can hide it. What's wrong? I hand her the tablet. She reads in silence. Then her jaw clenches. She's taking credit. It's fine, I lie. This happens. No, it's not fine. She tosses the tablet down. You built those benches. Every bolt, every seam, every scorch mark on your sleeve. She's not stealing that. I don't want to cause a scene, I say quietly. The work speaks for itself. Ava crosses her arms. Sometimes silence lets the wrong person narrate the story. The words land heavier than she knows, because she's done it too, for years. I don't answer, but she sees it in my eyes. That night I can't sleep. Ethan calls. His voice is hesitant, carrying that cautious tone of someone caught in the middle. I heard about the credit issue, he says. Brooke, she told me it's just a media oversight. She said she's going to fix it before publication. Is she? I think so. A pause. Nora, I know this is complicated, but maybe she didn't mean to. Ethan, I cut him off, my tone calm but sharp. This isn't an accident. She's rewriting the story. That's her specialty. Silence, then a low sigh. I'll talk to her. Don't, please, I can handle it. After the call, I sit alone at the work table. My reflection stares back at me in the unfinished steel sheet. I trace the scratches with my finger. Every imperfection proof that something real happened here. When Ava arrives the next morning, she doesn't speak. She just walks over and slides a USB drive onto the table. What's this? I ask. Proof, she says. Photos, timestamps, design drafts, invoices, all with your name on them. Everything that shows those benches are yours. Luke needs to see this. You stayed up all night doing this? She shrugs. You forget I'm good at research. Not all my skills come from Bali. There's humor in her voice, but her eyes are steady, determined. She's not doing this for attention. She's doing it for me. That afternoon, Ava goes with me to Talbot Coffee HQ. Luke meets us in a glass-walled office. Brooke's already there, perched like confidence in heels, smile sharp enough to cut. Ah, Nora, she says. Glad you came. We were just finalizing some press angles. Don't worry, I'll make sure Groundline gets a tag. Ava cuts in, voice cool but clear. You'll make sure Nora Carter gets the credit she earned. That's the only thing we're finalizing. Brooke blinks. Excuse me? Ava plugs in the USB, slides Luke's laptop toward him. Timestamps, design files, videos of her working. Check the metadata. You'll see who built those benches, and it wasn't your branding team. Luke scrolls. His expression darkens. Brooke's voice wavers. It's just protocol. Protocol doesn't weld steel, I say softly. The silence that follows feels like the sound right before thunder. Finally, Luke exhales. Nora, I'm sorry. We'll fix this immediately. The official release will credit you as lead designer and fabricator. Brooke, you're dismissed from this project. Brooke stiffens, but she knows it's done. She gathers her tablet and storms out without a word. When the door closes, Luke looks at me. You handled that with grace, he says. Not many people would have. I glance at Ava. She helped. He smiles. Then I owe both of you coffee. On the house. Outside, Ava lets out a breath she's been holding for hours. Well, she says, that was satisfying. Yeah, I admit, it was. We laugh, really laugh, for the first time in years. That night, Mom insists we both come for dinner. I brace for awkwardness, but something's changed. Dad asks about the business again. Mom compliments the benches as very modern, but strong. And Ava, she lets me talk. She doesn't interrupt, doesn't correct, doesn't perform. When dessert comes, she quietly slides a sketchbook across the table. I've been thinking, she says. Groundline needs a logo that feels like us. Simple. Yang. Like a horizon line in steel. I open it, a hand-drawn sun rising over a single welded line. Elegant, bold, honest. It's perfect, I whisper. She smiles. Then we'll build it, together. And just like that, for the first time in our lives, my sister and I are facing the same direction. Morning light spills across the shop floor, the same color as sparks mid-flight. It's been a week since the Talbot coffee fallout, but the tremor still lives in my chest. Not fear this time, something gentler. Pride that doesn't apologize for existing. Ava hums while sweeping, Bruno snoozes by the door, and I'm tracing lines for a new project. Custom stair frames for a local art gallery. Luke kept his word. He tagged Groundline on every official post. Orders have doubled since then. My inbox hums like a second welder. Ethan stops by that afternoon with takeout and that sheepish, familiar smile. Am I forgiven yet? He asks, holding out iced coffees. I arch an eyebrow. For what? For not believing how bad Brooke really was. I sigh, but take the cup. You didn't want to choose sides. I get it. He studies me. You're different lately. Different how? Lighter? Like you finally put something down you were carrying. I glance toward Ava, who's crouched beside the scrap bins, sorting metal with streaks of dust on her cheek. Yeah, I say softly. I think we both did. He slips an arm around me, tentative but sincere. You deserve this, Nora. All of it. The moment feels warm and grounded. Two people finally learning to trust the quiet instead of filling it. When Ethan leaves, Ava slides a folded paper onto my workbench. You're going to like this one, she says. It's a refined version of her earlier sketch, a rising sun intersecting a clean steel line, minimal yet powerful. Underneath, in small type, Groundline, built to hold. I stare at it for a long second. It's simple, I say, like it always wanted to be. She grins. Told you I could contribute something that doesn't involve hashtags. I laugh. You finally learned the family trade, proving people wrong. She laughs too, the easy, uncalculated kind that used to echo in our shared bedroom years ago, before travel, before envy, before all the noise. We prep the sheet metal for engraving. Ava holds the stencil steady while I weld the outline. Sparks fly, bouncing across the floor in arcs of orange light. The letters burn into being. Our name, our work, our story. When we're done, the shop smells like heat and new beginnings. Ready to hang it? I ask. She nods. Let's weld it. We mount the sign above the front doors, sweat dripping, arms shaking. The final seam melts into place. We step back together. The logo catches the morning sun glowing faintly. The line looks like a horizon. The name, Groundline, shines like something unbreakable. Ava leans on the railing, breathing hard but smiling. You know, she says, I used to think freedom meant leaving. Flights, stamps, new countries. Turns out it's just... She gestures around the shop. Showing up, every day. I nod. Freedom's quieter than you expect. She looks at me sideways. So what happens now? We start hiring, expand, turn this into a franchise? I grin. Let's start with lunch, then maybe a second broom. She laughs, loud and real, echoing off the walls. Bruno barks once, as if seconding the motion. That night, after she leaves, I lock up the shop alone. The new sign catches the last strip of sunset. It glows faintly gold, its edges still warm. I trace the weld with my finger. It's not perfectly straight. It wobbles slightly at the start. I leave it that way. A reminder that beginnings don't have to be flawless to be strong. My phone buzzes, a text from Ava. Thanks for letting me stay. I don't think I realized how much home I'd been avoiding. I smile, typing back. You earned your spot. See you tomorrow. Then I put the phone down, switch off the lights, and stand for a moment in the soft hum of cooling metal. The air is thick with heat, dust, and something new, peace. Not the fragile kind that needs silence to survive, but the sturdy kind you build yourself, the kind that can take weight, hold shape, and shine when light hits it just right. Outside, the sign gleams under the street lamp. Steady, clean, unapologetic. Built to hold. And for the first time in years, so am I.